to the Enterprise Endpoint Experts E-Cubed podcast. I am your co-host, Bill Burnett. Over here is our other co-host, Chaz Spawn. Hey, Chaz.
Good to see you.
And our esteemed guest, Harjit Dhaliwal.
Dhaliwal.
God, I was so close. I'm sorry. I am sorry.
It's like Dollywood, you know?
Oh, that makes it easier.
Just remember Dollywood. I'm going to Dollywood. So that's
Harjit Dhaliwal.
That's right.
Okay, and today our topic is patching and Patch Tuesdays. So we're kind of going to talk about what is Patch Tuesday, how do you deal with it, how are you deploying patches in your organization, what's really happening, boots on the ground in your world, Windows 7 sunset coming up, how does that impact all this? But first, let's learn something fun about Harjit.
Oh
so
my
many
God.
things to choose from. What will we talk about?
Nobody knows me, so I'm very quiet.
I want to hear about your session.
All right. So I had a session here on Monday at 8 o'clock, first thing in the morning, right off the bat.
You got to break the ice and break everything in.
Yeah, and I had a good co-presenter, an amazing co-presenter, Dune from Microsoft. So we were ready, we got there early, we started preparing and went over our slides and everything like that. And as we were about to start, slides from the next room was showing in our room, and our slides was showing in a different room. So it was all crisscrossed. So that happened for a while, and then there was no AV at all. I mean, so we had nothing.
So you got to do it old school.
Here's now 8:05, and so we just did the session. We just started the session. We did introductions, and we started a Q&A instead of doing Q&A at the end. So we just engaged the audience, and we had a full house, over 100 people. And then we're like, hey, so while we're waiting, let's just start the session. So we went up, we'll look in the laptop, and okay, this is okay, yep. So we start talking, and just got people engaged, and they were asking questions back, and no one left. So that was a good thing.
Really?
Yeah, and then we got our AV back about halfway through. They rewired us, and then we just continued and finished up. Yeah.
Wow, okay. So proof that, there actually were good things happening before the invention of video.
Right. But the good thing is that at least we knew our topic and we knew what we were talking about and stuff, right? Yeah. So it just goes easier with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because otherwise if you're relying on slides because you really have to look at the wordings,
And that's the beauty of MMS itself,
right,
is
exactly.
that you have the world's leading experts in these topics. You're not just getting people who are like, oh, here's some slides that somebody put together for me. These are people who live this stuff day in and day out and provide guidance to other people kind of day in and day out. You're an MVP yourself, right? Because you provide a lot of guidance for people.
Yeah, I do. I share a lot of stuff on the social media space. I've got my own technology group on Facebook, and as you know, I'm heavy on Twitter and stuff like that. So like you said, it's really nice here because you got the experts who really work with these tools, these products, these technologies, right down in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
They're not just doing it in their labs and talking fluff and stuff like that. They actually use the stuff and find the pain points, right? So then you have the Microsoft teams here as well, who are building these products and re-engineering it and stuff like that. So they're coming from a different perspective, whereas the experts are coming from a different perspective, and it just meshes.
That's awesome.
Right?
All right, so let's dig into our topics.
Sure.
First, I'm going to start out really easy. What is Patch Tuesday?
Patch Tuesday is the designated patching day when Microsoft pushes patches on a given month. So it's the second Tuesday of each month, the second full Tuesday. So, if the first of the month started on the Tuesday, so it has to be a full week It's the second Tuesday of each month. Microsoft releases patches at about 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then you start seeing it in your environments, and you get it synced and stuff like that, and then you can start deploying your patches.
Okay, Chaz, I know you have a lot of more specific questions about Patch Tuesday, so why don't you grill Harjit?
Sure.
Oh boy.
Well, so in the world of Windows 10 now, right? Landscape has changed a lot. We don't have a lot of little patches coming out anymore. They're all coming out in these big patches. How come they're so big?
They're not that big, actually. So what's happened in the past, you used to have, in a given month, you were deploying maybe 100 patches, 100 different individual patches, 75, 50, whatever it is. Well, Microsoft has gone to the cumulative update method, where it's all like one package, right? It's one, everything is included. You don't have multiple patches. It doesn't have multiple reboots, things like that. So a lot of those pain points have been solved. The caveat now is that in the past, many people were deploying patches like maybe 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, and sometimes even like, April patches, they'll deploy it in May patches in June, and so on and so forth. Well, you can't do that now because the frequency of these patches that are coming out in cumulative form, they supersede each other, right?
Right.
So you'll have Patch Tuesday week, you'll have a CU that comes out, and then you may have there may be a little bug or a problem. They'll re-release another one maybe by the end of the week. Sometimes you'll have another one the following week, or whatever, right? You see that. So if that doesn't happen, you just have one, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna package this, I'm gonna deploy it, but I'm gonna schedule it for next month. That's fine and dandy, but then by the time you hit the next month, you got the CU for this month.
Right.
This is obsolete now, right? And you're never gonna hit compliance. Your machines are never, your systems are never gonna patch. You think they are, but they're not.
Right.
Right? So they've also gone to the CU format for the .NET patches as well. They used to be all individuals. Now it's all one package that covers, the different versions of it.
Right.
And they also did that for Windows 7 as well. The CU patches for Windows 7. That's been out for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, important to stay up to date
Stay up to
because
date.
those supersedings are just going to lock you up.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what are you doing in your organization? How do you deal with the patches as they come out?
Good question. So I handle all the patches in my organization. I use ConfigMgr, obviously, and I keep things very simple. I don't over tune my how I filter patches and stuff like that. Where else, some experts I found they'll I do a little bit of consulting on the side as well, and I help these organizations where why are your patches not working? Why are they not being deployed? Why? Well, when you look at the selection that they do to package these patches, they miss out on a lot of stuff.
Can you back that up? What do you mean the selection?
So you can select when you're creating automatic deployment rules, right? To create your update groups, your software update group, your packages and stuff like that for the deployments. You can say, give me critical and security updates. Give me service packs, things like that.
Okay.
I don't want anything
Service
that's
packs?
superseded.
They don't still have service.
Oh yes, they do. Yeah.
So this is, sorry, I'm a little bit remedial here because I'm not in the trenches doing this. Okay, so a service pack is what nowadays?
It's like for SQL, things like that.
Oh,
right?
okay, not for
Service
Windows
pack.
itself.
Right. Not
Oh,
for
just your
Windows.
other thing.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Okay.
For the other products.
But they're all delivered on Patch Tuesday.
Right. On Patch
Got
Tuesday,
it. Okay.
right.
So they're just selecting everything for every possible.
They will select by operating system, like Windows 10 or Server 2016, or those kind of things. Whereas if you just select the classifications, like I said, like critical, security, and so on, features and things like that,
Right.
you're gonna get all of those things regardless of what operating system,
Okay.
right? Then you also select that, you don't want them to be superseded. Okay, so give me those. You don't want expired patches. Give me those, right? So what I do is when I have a ADR, automatic deployment rule, that runs on late Tuesday night. Okay, so patches come out by Microsoft on Tuesday. I'm in the East Coast, so the 3-hour time zone, right? Difference. So late Tuesday night, because I want my systems to get their policies from ConfigMgr to report back and say, these are the patches they're missing, in terms of what they need and don't need.
Right.
So when my ADRs run, it'll take that data and create packages based on that. So I'm not deploying everything, right?
Right.
It's to keep things nice and slim and small, and So then I have two deployments. One is to it's basically delayed deployment, and another one is a no delay. The no delay one goes to all my server collections.
Wait. You're patching your servers immediately?
Right. Yes.
No delay.
But so I deploy patches at 1 p.m.
You're blowing Chaz's mind over here.
on 1 p.m. on Wednesdays, right? And it's set as ASAP, deploy now, install now, but they don't get installed because I have maintenance windows on all my server collections.
Ah, okay.
So the maintenance windows are overnight, right? 12 to 2, 2 to 4, things like that.
So you're not
So-
rebooting during the day and
No.
bringing everybody's
No.
productivity down.
Right. But what's helpful with this method I'm doing is that during the day, all of these servers will start caching down the updates. Right? They're ready to go. They're already downloaded. They're on the servers. They're just waiting for the next instruction, right? And then when they hit the maintenance windows, they're like, hey, I got the patches. I've already downloaded it. I'm gonna hit it. So they install quicker,
Right.
right? And before you hit your maintenance windows.
You're not waiting for that download. It's already
Exactly.
there.
So that's one. The other one is the delayed deployment. That goes to all the workstations, like laptops, computers, and things like that. And we set it for as available, but they become mandatory the following week, like on
Okay.
a Monday, like early in the morning. The reason that is done is because we had some complaints, people who are running experiments in various labs, or they are in meetings and presenting or doing things, right? And they're getting patches and they were rebooting, or so we're like, okay, we'll give you the patches. You are free to install it on your own, right? Anytime up to the deadline. Perform all the reboots you need, and if you don't, it's going to happen then. And we've had really good compliance with that. So now people know that if this experiment I'm going to run is going to take 3 days, I'm going to do the patches. I'm going to install it, reboot, and then do their work.
Right.
Right. So that's what we do.
And so they've got that expectation that they know that for them, it's going to be a patch Monday.
Right.
If they've got a week to get it installed manually, or else here
Right.
it comes, you're going to be
Right.
forced.
The only exceptions are when we have the out-of-band patches. That comes out not that frequently, especially like for Internet Explorer, vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So, then you hear it on the news as well, and oh my God,
Zero-day exploit.
zero
Get this
day,
patch
exactly.
now.
Yeah.
So that's just a one little patch that gets deployed, one off, and again I will give them about a day, and with
Okay.
a lot of announcements. Hey, we have to do this. We got to secure our systems.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Sweet.
can't take security at risk. there.
No.
So how do you do your testing? Do you have testers that use those availables and let you know if they're having any issues, or
I'm the tester.
you're the tester?
But yeah, so I usually play with patches. Not as I play, but I install patches on a couple of my test servers, some of my workstations. I've got VMs and things like that. I also got the insider builds, so I test those as well.
Right.
See what's happening. But otherwise, no. I keep track. I pay close attention to social media, especially starting Patch Tuesday. So I start monitoring the feeds. Are people reporting about bad patches or blue screens and unresponsive systems in listservs and forums and stuff like that?
Right.
And then I start poking around and say, wait, is this just an isolated thing or is this global? Is it just happening to this one company on 5 machines, or is it, so once you realize, oh wait, this is happening to a lot of people. So that's when I actually pull those patches out before I deploy them on Wednesdays. Yeah.
Excellent. So now, there's some great MVPs out there that blog on this stuff all the time, right? So
yeah.
Do you have any suggestions on good blogs to follow?
Oh, there's my buddy Brian Dam. He's big in patching. I think his blog is thedamngoodadmin.com.
Yes.
So he's a good one to follow. I occasionally blog too, and it's just my name, harjit.us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big blogosphere out there in the ConfigMgr world, so
Yeah.
I think people can navigate their way around.
Right.
Any more questions on the Patch Tuesday itself before we talk about what happens when Windows 7 runs out of road?
Well, actually, one more question. So I know you do a little bit of consulting on the side. Have you come across any companies that are doing kind of a tiered deployment where they do a ring, a smaller ring,
Yeah.
and then let that go out that way? Can you
Yeah,
talk about
they
that?
do that actually. So you're talking more about like the phase deployment kind of mindset. There's 2 types of phase deployments, right? One is, I think you're talking about the tiered method, right? Deploy to your ring 0, ring 1, ring 2, or your test service. And then you also have that feature in ConfigMgr where you have that percentage and how many machines you want patched before it moves to the next one. But yeah, I do run into organizations where they're very strict in their testing. They just don't deploy patches right away to their production systems. And the first phase will be like test 0 with 10 machines or 5 servers. They'll wait maybe 2 days, and then they'll have another one for test 1 or something like that. And then let's open it up again to this other tier that has a lot more users, maybe 100 systems and stuff.
Right.
And then they're finding, okay, yeah, everything's vetted, we're good to go, there's no reports, and then they do the production. Yeah, they still do that, yeah.
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 It's just still the fear factor out there. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to push the press.
Yeah.
Brings everybody down. So
yeah.
cool.
Patch, I love patching. Patching is awesome, really. It is. It is it's funny. Like a lot of people.
I don't think I've heard that. Patching is awesome. We need T-shirts. There should be a sticker
should
with
have
Harjit.
it.
Harjit
Patching
doing
is
this.
awesome.
Patching is awesome.
No, but I see people struggling with it. I just don't think they understand how it works and how to do it, how to deploy them. And
You make a really good point. You clearly have been through this like over a series of years, and you
Yeah.
understand all the details, and you've got a system that it seems really obvious. Like, why is this
Yeah.
even a problem? You just
Right,
follow
exactly.
my system.
like, why are you struggling with this? What's going on here?
And it's changed a lot over the years.
It is.
So, I mean, the fear factor's there because there were lots of pains in the past that have gotten much, much easier
Yeah.
with the way they're doing
Well, in the
things
past,
now.
people were using traditional WSUS, right? It works, it does its thing, but you don't have granular controls. You can't say, I want to patch these set of machines exactly at this time, exactly at this day. I want to, make sure they don't reboot they only reboot at this time. The granularity was not there, right? Now with ConfigMgr, you can actually control that. I only want patches to go to these machines on this day, starting at this time. And you know what? I want the reboot to happen this time.
Right.
I want to give warnings. I want to do all that stuff. It's
Actually manage my patching process.
yes.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So we'll get to work on a design for those stickers for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harjit says patching is awesome.
Okay. So Windows 7 end of life. First off, let's think of some random metaphors for it. You called it Windows 7 sunsetting. I said running out of road.
Sunsetting.
Could also be falling off a cliff. It could be.
Yeah. Retirement. That's the nice way to put it.
Going
Retirement.
into retirement.
Windows 7 in
is
the fire.
moving to Florida.
Hiding in the forest.
Right.
So Windows on January 14th, 2020, Microsoft will no longer support. It will be the official end of support is the terminology
Yes.
for Windows 7. What does that really mean?
So what it means is that you're not going to have any more patches and security fixes and things like that, right? They're not going to put any more effort into bug fixes and all that fun stuff. So you're basically going to be vulnerable starting January 14, 2020.
So, and it's already been like feature dead for a while.
It
They
is.
have not been providing new functionality to it
Exactly.
for some time, just these security updates and bug fixes. But now, if there are bugs or security problems, you're basically SOL.
Yeah. The same thing happened with Windows
Unless-
XP.
Unless you want to shell out big bucks, right?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and nobody knows how much it costs.
Actually, no, it does.
Oh, they've released the
really?
cost schedule
I do.
now.
Oh, really? What is the cost schedule?
So for large businesses, for example, education and corporations that want to jump into this other support structure after January 14th,
Yeah. So, by the way, what we're talking about is extended support.
way extended.
Pay,
Right.
This is you can pay Microsoft to get these critical updates only, and even that's going to end in a few years.
Right.
But for the next few years, you can pay to get it. And what's that cost?
So if you're an enterprise, if you're doing Windows 10 Enterprise, it's $25 per client per machine per year. The first year, $50 the next year, $100 the third year. It's
That's not so bad.
right per
I'm
machine.
joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking. If you have a lot of
For your
clients,
100,000
that can
machines.
hurt a lot.
It gets worse. For a consumer, for professional, Windows 7 Professional is $50 for the first year, $100 for the second, and then $200 for the third year.
Wow.
So it's even more. It's double.
Right.
So when you multiply this, right, in by let's say hundreds, it's big money, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason to stay on it. There's a lot of great features with Windows 10. It's more productive.
Right.
They're putting a lot of efforts into it. On a monthly basis. I don't see why people don't want to go into it, other than application compatibility. But those have also been taken care of already. They do work with Windows 10, and if it's not, then it's the vendor's fault, right? So the third-party vendors are not keeping
Yes,
up
but
with
I mean, if you've got a system that's been working for 5 years,
Right.
you're not interested in blaming the vendor so much as just
So
having it
speaking
continue
of
to work.
that, there are some situations where they just can't get off Windows 7. For example, Windows 7 systems that are connected to $1 million equipments, like in hospitals and labs and things like that, right? And because that machinery costs $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and they have to use this. The application only runs on very old OS.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with those? Well, you gotta isolate those machines. You
Yeah.
don't get them on the network anymore.
Right.
You cut
okay.
them off. So if they're isolated, they're just running it just to run that application to access the
That's a fair
equipment.
point. For a totally disconnected system, you're fine.
Right, you're fine.
Okay, good. And so, what do you recommend? Well, obviously, you just recommend that people move to Windows. So,
Migrate,
what would it look like? Let's envision. Let's write a science fiction movie here, where where people are now in January 15th, 2020, and they haven't updated Windows 7, and they have. What happens then? A bug comes out. Somebody suddenly starts hitting them with ransomware, and you hear
I
like
guarantee you.
psycho music. What's the matter, honey? I don't know. I can't get into our banking application.
Exactly. There's going to be a denial of attack or something on the 15th. Because I'm telling you, they are bad actors out there who have already created malware, ransomware, whatever you name it.
Yeah.
It's ready to go.
Okay, got
It's
it.
ready to go.
So then, let's do this one more thing. Oh, sorry. That means that we have 5. That timer has apparently verbal. Which means we need to wrap up. But what I would like to do in wrapping up is, can we come up with some interesting names for these bad actors? For example, sometimes I will call them evildoers, dirty dogs, scoundrels. There's hackers, cyber attackers.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Oh my God.
The one I worry about is the script kiddies, right? It's this-
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's not even automated anymore. That somebody just wrote it and then
Yeah.
10 other people propagate it out there, and then just bots running everywhere waiting for you to
Yeah,
make the mistake of bringing that Windows 7 machine on January 15th.
Yeah.
Screen turns red and said, "Ha ha, sucker."
This is a fun interview. This is gonna be the best one.
Okay, so I think we're going to go out on that.
Yeah.
Harjit, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Great.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Yeah.